Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you've joined me today. Today we're going to make this adorable piece. I don't even know if you want to call it a ephemera. I think it's a little bit more than ephemera. It is an envelope flip tag with pockets. That's what I'm calling it. It'd be a wonderful, just a little thank you gift for someone. The holidays are coming up. You could pop it between signatures in a junk journal if you have multiple signatures. You could pop it into a pocket if you're working on a very large journal. Now, the base of this is an envelope. My envelope happens to be 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And with this envelope, we're going to make this adorable piece. So it opens up like this. I actually was going to put this opening, I was going to have it like this on this side. That's just how I'm more comfortable with. But I put this lined paper on it, so I really didn't want it to be upside down. So I changed it. So needless to say, you could have this flap opening on this side, or you could have it on this side, whichever way you want it. All right, so I've got a little bit of lace here, a Sari silk closure, a label, safety pin with a dangle and some lace right there. And then we're gonna open it up. And we have this pretty page here. You could journal on this page if you want. And this page flips like this. Now, at the top of this page, I have two beautiful tags right here that I have decorated just a little bit. I have sewn around the edge of the tags just for a little extra, I don't know, just a little extra decoration. Then we flip it, and then you have a flip pad right here, so you can do some more journaling. And then we have another pocket here. I popped a little tag in this pocket, and then on the back we have another large pocket right here. Hold a journaling card or maybe some journaling paper. And then we close this by using our Sari silk closure, and we just tie it. Now, I'm not going to completely tie it because we might need to refer back to it as we make our new one together. Won't you join me? So what we want to do is we want to take a piece of, excuse me. What we want to do is take a piece of decorative paper, and mine looks just like this. I think this is either a blossom art paper or chapter 1 paper. I'm not real sure. You're going to take your envelope. Now you can use any size envelope that you want. I just gave you the size of the one I'm using. And we're going to be gluing it down onto our paper. Maybe something like this. I'm going to start by using my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. And I'm going to place my glue on my envelope like this. I'm going to switch to my wet glue. It's my art glitter glue, and I'm going to add my glue on it. Now you guys, my life is kind of, yeah, it's really quite exciting right now. I can't share quite yet, but that's why I'm very sporadic in making my videos. But when I'm able to share with you, I surely will, and I have lots to tell you. So bear with me as I make it through this little transition period. So, all right, so we've got our envelope glued onto your decorative paper. And then what we'll want to do is we'll want to trim it out. So I'm going to be trimming out my paper. All right, so I've trimmed around the edge, and I've gone ahead and used my vintage photo, and I've inked around. All right, so now we look like this. Next, I just took the scrap from the page that I used here, and I cut it so it will fit down into my envelope like this. Now, what I have found with envelopes is that, yes, they're made by a machine, but not always does this side match this side. So I'm going to put my paper in printed side up, and then I'm just going to trace around with my pencil. I'm actually going to erase that part where I accidentally drew on my envelope. And then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to trim out where I have traced, and I'm actually going to trim it so that I'm trimming off the pin marking. So I'm trimming it smaller than what it needs to be so that I can place it right here and decorate this portion of my envelope. Now before I glue this down, I am going to take my sponge and I'm going to ink up the edges here because as you saw, when I laid this down, a little bit of that is going to show, so I want it to be inked up. I'm also going to ink up this piece right here, and we will be gluing it right in place, right on this side of the envelope. So I'm going to do all those things now. All right, so I have completed that. Now I have another paper that I've chosen and I've cut it so it will fit right down inside the envelope, just like that. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue right down here on the bottom, and then I'm going to slip it into my envelope. I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to add more glue inside the envelope so that I can glue that piece of paper down onto the flap of the envelope. Now, if you would rather add your glue to the paper and then stick it in, you do it however you feel comfortable with. That's just how I like to do it. So I've got that glued into my envelope and we just trim it out now, just like that. Now I'm going to do just a little bit of inking on my flap like this. All right, so now we have our base all together, just the way we need it. I'm going to need to fold my flap back onto my envelope, and I'm hoping that my papers are dry enough. I might need to wait for just a few minutes, so let's just wait and not do that portion yet. You're going to need another piece of paper. Let me move my ink out of the way here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a very simple seed envelope. I'm going to take my paper like this, and let me get an envelope that's, from where we started. What you'll want to do is you'll want to make a seed pocket to fit the envelope. So I'm just going to use my envelope base and I'm going to fold it like this, give it a crease, and then I'm going to fold it over like this, give it a little crease. And because my envelope was 3.5 by 6.5, this first fold is 3. That's almost 3.5. And then the second fold. Now I'm going to trim this off just a little bit. I don't need to glue that great big piece on there. I'm looking to see where my fold is. Maybe another inch, something like that. Now what we want to do is I'm going to use this as my guide. I'm going to place my envelope kind of in the middle, somewhere close. And I'm going to fold this over. It looks like I'm going to fold it over about an inch. So let's fold this over an inch. I'm not sure if it's going to be easier to do it this way or to do it when it's closed. No, I think this way. It's less bulky. Just making sure that my fold's going to be straight here. And lining my paper up, giving it a nice little crease. Alrighty. Now let's check it one more time. How much do I need to fold here at the top? It looks like about 1/2 inch, or the bottom. It doesn't matter how you want to deem which one's top and which one's bottom. And let's fold this over about 1/2 inch. Now I want to make sure it's within my envelope, so I'm actually going to do it 1/4 inch more. So it's really, goodness, it's about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, that I folded it over. Now let's fold this all together like this. And let's make sure it fits within our envelope. And it does. It comes out just a little bit, doesn't it? I need to fold this over just a little bit more. So I'm going to crease this over just a little bit more, lining it up on my paper. Now that's better. That fits within that envelope much, much better. All right, so that's going to be our new crease. I'm going to highlight this. And highlight this fold. we're going to go ahead and our envelope is going to be like this. This is going to be our top. So we can remove this portion and we can actually remove this portion. So we can take this portion out and we can take this one out. We can trim it like this. We can take all this out and we can take all this out. So with that said, let's just do that. Let's cut it like this at an angle. And then I'm going to cut the fold out. So I'm going to cut that highlighted fold. I'm going to cut it off. So you can see it's got the highlights on it. And I did not leave any on here. That way, when we close up the bottom, it's not going to bind. And then let's remove this. Alrighty. Let's put our little envelope together. We need to glue this flap down. This is the top. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. And then I'm going to fold it like this. And we're going to glue this closed right here. So adding my glue. Then we're going to fold this one up like this. Now I'll make sure it's still going to fit in that envelope. It is. Okay. And let's glue the bottom. Now we have a wonderful seed envelope, and we're not going to have to worry about the inside because not only have we strengthened the top, but we've also made it a little decorative by folding over our piece of paper. Let's bring in our envelope now, and let's, it still feels really wet, but let's go ahead and work on closing it. Remember I said you're going to close the flap back on itself? I placed that other envelope in here just to help me fold it because it's so very wet that it just wants to fold how it wants to fold, and I want it to fold right where it was made to fold. So that's going to take me just a moment. I'm going to grab one of these bone folders. Oh, that's going to be wonderful. All right, I've got my fold. Now I'm going to remove my little extra envelope to help me out. Oh, that is really pretty. And then this is the back. And this is actually the front. Now I actually want this one to be like this. Remember I said that I had to move my flap to be on this side to open up because of I wanted my words to be right side up. This one I didn't choose paper that I had a problem with, so I can put that flap on the side I want. So you might want to consider that when choosing your paper. Now this is where this fits, just like this. It fits right in the front. Isn't that pretty? I think that's lovely. Now I have a paper doily. I've had it for years and years. I can't tell you where I got it from. I'm pretty sure I ordered it off of Amazon. It was before I think before there was even a Temu. And so I'm pretty sure that's not a Temu purchase. It is an Amazon purchase. And I think you probably can find them online somewhere. It's sturdy. It's not flimsy like the doilies you get to place, to make food presentation fancy or Valentine's, that type of thing. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to use this as a hinge. And I'm going to hinge my paper using my doily. I'm going to fold my doily in half like this and give it a crease. And then I'm going to place my doily on here, and I'm going to glue it right in to the fold. So I think the first thing I want to do is add my glue to this side, just one side, and I'm just going to dot some glue around, try to avoid the holes in the doily. All right, and then let's go ahead and just do it this way. That's about the middle. That's about where I need it, right here. And I'm just going to place it right on the fold of my paper here, my seed pocket that we've made. So now it's just like that. I think this is the easiest way to do it. And then I'm going to add my glue to this side of my doily. and I'm going to glue it down onto the flap of my envelope. And then make sure your seed pocket is placed correctly, and then just glue it in. So now it's easily a hinge. It hinges really nicely. Now on this side, it needs a little bit of help. Now this is where I chose to use some washi tape. I love using washi tape, and I really have to remember to use it. Sometimes I just leave a roll of washi tape on my desk so that I do remember to use washi tape, because I tend to forget. It's put away in a box, and I forget, and it's such an easy thing to grab to use. Now I always glue or add more glue to my washi tape. I don't trust that glue on the back of the washi tape. It just always seems to come up. If it doesn't come up today, to me, it will come up maybe next year. And especially if you're giving this as a gift, you don't want your creation to start coming apart. So I just add a little bit of glue. Whatever glue you want to use will be perfectly fine. I'm just using my art glitter glue and a little bit of washi. So I'm just going to put 3 little pieces right here. And to just kind of keep my seed pocket down in place. Look at that. That is wonderful. So it hinges so very nicely. And we've got a wonderful pocket right there at the top. Now I have some tags that I have backed with coffee dyed paper, and I've sewn around the edge. And these are chapter 1 paper tags from their kits that they have. I'm not even sure which kit they're from. I think it might even be an assortment of kits that I use. I don't think they're all from one kit. I was thinking that I wasn't even going to put a hole in one of them. If I can cover it up with Sari silk, I will. Yeah, maybe something like that. So I'm going to trim this off. I'm going to bring in, well, good heavens, maybe I can trim it off. I'm going to bring in my hot glue gun, and that is just an easy way for me to get things glued down and in place and not have to worry about it moving while making a video. So I love using hot glue when I'm making my videos. It's a Sure Bonder high tip with that specialty tip, which is coming apart. I've used it so much. And I thought I would pop maybe this on. That's not quite wide enough. Okay, let's just pop this little piece of lace on the top just for some added decoration. So just adding that there. I'm going to grab a sharper pair of scissors, trim that off. So that's really sweet. That's an added decorative tag. Let's pop that in there. And then this one, I'll just get my hole punch, and we'll punch out the hole. And I think what I'd like to do is place my Sari silk. Now this is from Crimson Heart Studios. I will link her shop down below for the Sari silk. And I'm going to glue this down. I'm not going to tie it. I'm going to glue it down like that. And then I'm going to take this longer piece, I should say. It's a longer piece. And I'm going to tie a bow. So let's get this bow tied quickly. That's pretty cute. And let's glue it right on the top here, just like this. Get that glued on. And then we're going to trim our ends of our ribbon, our Sari silk, I should say. There, that's pretty doggone cute. And then we can pop this in here in the top. All right, so now we look just like that. Next, what I want to do is I want to put a flip book right here. I think that would be a very nice addition. I have some coffee dyed paper here. I'm going to fold it this way. I'm going to fold it this way. I'm going to bring in my small guillotine. I'm going to trim off, you know where there's that red line on those loose leaf notebook papers? I'm going to trim that off like that. And then let's hold it right up. That's perfect length, absolutely perfect. Now I do need to trim the side because this is folded here. So back in my little guillotine and a little trim. All right, so now we have our little flip book. Now, I am actually, let me get it. I'm going to be using my very small Tim Holtz stapler. Now, I'm going to take the tags out for this because I'm going to actually stick my stapler in this way because I want the staples, the part that goes together like this, I want it to be on the outside so I can cover it up so it won't catch on your tags going in and out of the pocket. I actually think I might just trim off the edge right here, the corners, just a little bit. So I need to stick it into my pocket this way. This is really the only fussy part of this process. Right here and then right there. All right, you guys, that wasn't hard. It's straight now. I think I'm just going to use a piece of lace, and so just a little bit of glue right here, and then covering up my staples with a piece of lace, a little trim. There we go, super cute. Now let's see, we need, you can journal on this page easily, and right here we have another pocket. So these are the two we made for our seed pocket. I'm just going to stick another one in here to give you an idea. And you can always put a little decoration on the very back. So I think I'm actually going to pop this on the back, maybe something like that. So I'm going to add my glue to this stamp, this faux stamp, and then I'm going to add the glue to all of the fussy cut and glue it right down on the back. So it's not going to be bulky, but it still has a little bit of decoration. Let's go back to the front. Right here's the front, and I want to add a little bit of lace around the edge of my flap of my envelope. I'm going to do that by taking a narrow piece of lace and gluing it right on the edge, and then giving it a trim. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and a little trim. Then I'm going to put it on this side so I can see everything and trim it up so it will all match or go together like that. Okay. All right, so now it's like this. We've got that all decorated. I have a little tiny itty bitty piece of scrap lace, and I want to pop it on here, maybe something like that, because what I want to do is I want to add a safety pin with a little dangle. Here it is, safety pin with a little tiny dangle, just for some interest. I think it's really sweet. It finishes, adds a little finishing touch to this little project. And I'm going to use my scissors to help me get that closed. So there we are. We have a dangle on there, super sweet. And we're going to put our closure on now. Let me pop my tags back in our seed pocket. I've got another piece of Sari silk that's longer, and it's going to go right here underneath. So let's place this on top. And I'm going to tie it first first going to tie it. Make sure that it's long enough. Give it a tie right here on the edge. All right, now to hold this in place so it's not coming off every time you or someone wants to open it up, I have a label here from Chapter 1 Papers, and I'm going to glue it right to the edge. That's kind of, might be too big. I think I'm going to change it to this one, and I'm going to squeeze this together a little bit because I want my Sari silk, this is a little too wide is what I was saying. I want it to fit right there so I can glue that down right there. So I'm going to add, I'm actually going to squish this together just a little bit. I'm going to add my hot glue to my label, and then I'm going to place it right here to hold my Sari silk closure in place. What an adorable little gift these would be. Or like I said, pop it on in between the signatures. If you're making multiple signatures, that would be a lovely thing to stick in between the signatures. Pop it in a pocket if you have a large journal, or give it as a gift. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.